Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and we are praying through the Psalms. And today we're actually praying through one of my favorite Psalms, which happens to be Psalm 15. So David asked the question, Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? Who may live on your holy hill? Lord, we are sanctuaries. And also, as Lord, we are the dwelling place of God. So who can do that? Well, then he starts listing those things right now. He says, he whose walk is blameless. You and I are to live as blameless as impure, or I should say, and pure as we can in this generation. It starts from the inside out. As we obey the Lord's word and as we communicate with the Lord in prayer. He says, he who does what is righteous. You got to be blameless, and it's also got to be expressed in the way that we live, and speaks the truth from his heart. Remember, where our heart is, that is where our treasure is. And where our treasure is, that is where our heart is. And so when we have the Lord dwelling in our hearts, when we have the Lord as the center of our heart, we're going to speak the truth. And what's the truth? Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and life. No man comes to the Father but by him. We bring the good news of Jesus Christ into our world. And then he goes on to say, and has no slander on his tongue, who does not who does his neighbor no wrong, and casts no slur on his fellow man. He's basically saying, those who have the Lord, those who are going to dwell on the temple of the Lord and also on the holy hill, they are going to have truth in their lives. They're not going to be liars. They're not going to be mockers. They're not going to be scorners. They're not going to use their tongues to destroy others. Instead, they're going to be kind, and they're not going to be involved with gossip or slander. It's going to die as soon as it comes into their presence. He who despises the vile man, but honors those who fear the Lord, who keeps his oath even though it hurts. So three things. Number one, we don't like vile and wicked men. We want them to be saved. We want them to be restored, but we don't like what they're doing. It's you can love the sinner but hate the sin. But honors those who fear the Lord. Those who have respect for God, we are going to honor them. We're going to be friends with them. We are going to speak well of them. And even keeping our promises, even to the point where it hurts. That's difficult to do because it's easy to say, well, I didn't mean that. No, we need to honor our promises because that shows that we are godly. And remember, God honors his promises, so he expects us to honor ours. Then he goes on to say this, he who lends his money without usury and does not take a bribe against the innocent. He says, listen, in your monetary policy, you know what? You don't have to lend money. When you give money out, don't expect it to get it back. If it comes back to you, that is a blessing. But don't sit there and, put daily compound interest on it. And he says, don't ever, ever be involved in any type of activity that's going to bring down the vulnerable or the innocent. And then he says, he who does these things will never be shaken. Isn't that great to know that if you have this outgrowth in your life of a love for God, it's going to be shown in the way that you live. It's going to be shown in the way that you think. It's going to be shown in the way that you talk. And he says, when you do these things, no matter what happens in your life, you're not going to be shaken. Everything around you may be shaken, but you're not going to be shaken. Why? Because your anchor is in the Lord. The rock of the salvation is, of course, the standard that you are standing on. He is your foundation. He is your refuge. He is your strength. He is your strong tower. That's what David is saying today in Psalm 15. So let's be people who dwell in the temple of the Lord, because we are the temple of the Lord. And let's stand today and let's do what is exhorted here in Psalm 15. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Thanks for spending time with me today. God bless.